Hello, I'm Jenna Johnson, and this is COVID-19 News. According to the World Health Organization, the U.S. now has over 4.9 million cases of COVID-19 and over 160,000 deaths attributed to the virus. We here at COVID-19 News were able to find a visual representation of how the Trump administration has handled the high number of coronavirus cases. And how it's handled the high number of deaths. And congratulations, Gavin Newsom. As the governor of California, your state now has over 500,000 cases. 1,000 people die from the coronavirus every day in the United States. Here's what Donald Trump had to say about that during an AXIOS interview with Jonathan Swan.
We show more cases.
The figure I look at is death. And death is going up now.
Okay,
and it's 1,000 a day.
If you look at death...
Yeah, it's going up again.
Let's look.
Daily death.
Take a look at some of these charts.
I'd love to.
We're going to look.
Let's look.
And if you look at death...
Yeah, it's started to go up
here's
again.
One. Well, right here, the United States is lowest in numerous categories. We're lower than the world.
Lower than the world?
Lower than
What is that?
Europe. Death.
Oh, you're doing death as a proportion of cases. I'm talking about death as a proportion of population. That's where the US is really bad.
Well,
much worse than South Korea, Germany, etc.
You can't do that. You have
Why
to go,
can't I do that?
You have to go by. You have to. Under the
It's giving them a false sense of
right
security.
Now, I think it's under control. I'll tell you what.
How? 1,000 Americans are dying a day.
They are dying. That's true. And it is what it is. And you know there are those that say you can test too much. You do know that.
Who says that?
Oh, just read the manuals. Read the books.
Manuals?
Read the
What
books.
manuals?
Read the books.
What books?
To recap, on 1,000 deaths a day, the president said, "It is what it is." And when looking at death rates as a proportion to population, he said, "You can't do that." And he made the curious claim that the U.S. is lower than the world. What does that mean, you ask? To answer that question, we turn to Chris Mata, who was 3 credits shy of getting a science degree at Trump University. Hello, Chris. Thank you for joining us today.
My pleasure. Those credits were electives, but thank you for having me anyway.
Can you tell us exactly what the president meant when he said that the U.S. is lower than the world?
Well, Jenna, it's widely accepted in the science community that the U.S. is part of the world. But what the president was alluding to is the theory that the U.S. is, in fact, lower than the world. To put it in a way anyone can understand, it means exactly what he said. We have the U.S., see, here's the U.S., and here's the world. It's lower.
So you're implying that the U.S. is not on the world.
Well, there are people who say the U.S. hasn't been on the world for a long time.
Who says that?
Read the manuals.
What manuals?
Read the books.
What books? I mean, if the Earth was lower than the world, wouldn't we be able to see the Earth when we look in the sky?
Well, you can't do that.
Why can't I look in the sky to see if the U.S. is there? Wouldn't that solve the issue?
You have to go by the charts, Jenna.
Oh, you know what? I'm sorry to contradict you, but I have multiple reports coming in saying nobody sees the Earth in the sky and that the U.S. is indeed on the Earth. Thank you for doing your best to explain the president's comments, and thank you for being here.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Wow. Who knew 3 electives could make such a big difference? In other news, evangelical Christian personality Jerry Falwell Jr. is taking an immediate and indefinite leave of absence from his roles at Liberty University, where he is president and chancellor. The announcement was made after he posted this photo on Instagram. It was a costume party. His shirt was pulled up and his pants were unzipped, exposing a hairy belly and tight underwear. This photo has since been deleted, but it lives on through our memories and by having been burned forever into our retinas. This weekend, thousands of mask-free, risk-taking bikers head to Sturgis, South Dakota for the annual 10-day Sturgis motorcycle rally for what will be the largest gathering of people since the start of the pandemic. Although 60% of the Sturgis community voted to cancel the rally, the city council decided to follow through with it anyway, and Republican Governor Kristi Noem expressed her support for the rally, tweeting, "I trusted my people, they trusted me, And South Dakota is in a good spot in our fight against COVID-19. The STURGIS motorcycle rally starts this weekend, and we're excited for visitors to see what our great state has to offer! This whole I feel well so let's party mentality is like the logic I used to apply in college. Get my body and immunity in shape so as to feel primed and ready to wreck it at a weekend bender, on a yacht, with a costume theme, during a pandemic, with my married friend. Also against the rally are all of the great Sioux Nation tribes in South Dakota. They believe the potential 200,000 plus visitors will further spread the virus, and if anyone knows a thing or two about the dangers of white people spreading viruses, it's the Native Americans. Smallpox, anyone? And finally, the $600 federal unemployment aid ran out at the end of July, and now 30 to 40 million people face eviction. 14 million of those renters have children. Unless Congress can agree on a package, the rest of America runs the risk of looking like downtown Los Angeles, LA city parks, and LA off-ramps. Basically, Los Angeles will look even more like Los Angeles. And when you're feeling lower than the world because you and your family have to live in a tent in your neighbor's yard and they tell you,
You can't do that.
just tell them.
It is what it is.
I'm Jenna Johnson, and this is COVID-19 News. Thanks for watching.